All right, friends, we are back again. Do a little more work on this painting. First thing I want to do is I got some leaves I need to put in the background over here, just because I want those to dry a little bit before we get to the big tree we're going to add in on the end there. So, can get a little bit of sienna, a little bit of orange. Take very little touch of green. Let's get a little more orange in there. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to put any mixing medium in these, because I want them dry. I just need to pull these out a little further. These go almost half the way out in the photograph. Well, I want to try some here. Get a little more of the colors. Mush that in there. There we go. Break that tip up a little bit. I need a little more orange. That was a little dark, which is fine. A lot of that is going to be beneath other trees that we have in here. And of course, all the way down to these trunks. I'm bringing this color pretty much all the way up to the top. All right, and then let's fill the rest of that in. We got some sponges here. Let's go ahead and grab a clean one. Get that up. Oh, that's not going to work. It's not going to cover enough ground. I'm going to go ahead and use a fan brush. First, we got to mix up more of that color, though. There we go. That's covering some good ground. Go ahead and leave some of that sky showing in here. Some of that gray. Since it is the autumn, we don't want real thick leaves. We want some of that sky showing through. Some of the areas where you have a lot of sky showing without leaves, go ahead and patch that in a little bit. There we go. I'm going to take a little brush, it's about a 1/16 of an inch. I'm just going to go into a little touch of black, and then some of that leaf color. And we'll go ahead and we'll thin that down a little bit. And we'll just put a few little hints. Some branches in here and there. A lot of this is going to be covered up, so you don't gotta do a whole heck of a lot. Just a touch here and there. Right, and then on the other side of that puddle, let's go ahead and get that fan brush again. Just gonna get a little yellow into that mix. And we're just gonna put smattering of highlights here and there. Don't need a whole lot, because again, this is in the background some, but we want a few. Let's put a little more yellow in there, brighten it up even more. There we go. But by having that green in there, it's a dulled yellow. And then we can get a little bit of that shade color mixed. Let's get a little more. Let's actually just get a little brown in there. And also get a little shade. Brown. All right. Now, while that dries, we can work on our bridge over here. On brush here, it's about maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/16. We're just gonna go right into some black. We gotta put a little shade, a little black there, and then we're gonna go and a little sienna into that black that I still have on the brush. That might actually still be a little too dark, so let's get a little more sienna in there. And I could also use the brown, but I figured since I had the black on the brush, I might as well just mix that sienna into it. And we just got the brown on the bottom of the bridge there, a little bit of a wooden plank. Now we can go straight back into the black. We'll put a little wrought iron post right here. It's thicker. You know what? No, that's the wrong spot for that. I need to bring that in closer. So first thing I'm gonna do is paint over that black there. Now we'll get some black here. Then I'm just gonna get a little white on the brush with that black still in there. There on that black. And just work it into that gray in the background. There you go. And again, as I like to remind you, if you fix the errors right away, it's a whole lot easier to take care of them. And as I also like to remind you, that it doesn't just go for painting, it goes for life in general. Okay. I need to do one thing before I get that post on there. I want to put a little leaf litter on that bridge. And get some orange into that brownish color. Just dance a little orange on the path there. Let's go ahead. Dance a little over here too, since it's fall. Then we'll get a little bit of brighter yellow without the sienna mixed in. Plant a little bit of that too. There we go. All right, back to the black. There we go. All right. We'll go ahead. Get this post in on the other side. About right here. Fatten that up a little bit there. And let's get right there. Get a little bit of that brownish color again here. Let's thin that up a little. Just by thinning that up, I can pull the brush flat. And pull that there. All right. Get a thinner brush. That one, my liner brush. I mean, when I say a thinner brush, get some thinner on that liner into some of that black. Primer first. I got way too much. All right. We're gonna put in the handrail there. Twirl it in there to pull the brush to a point. Try to keep these bars about equidistant. That was a little thick. That's all right. Clean the brush. Get a little white on there. And just again, mix it right on the canvas. All right. Clean it off now. Get a little more thinner into that black. Get some of the design into that bridge ironwork. Okay, let's go ahead. Clean that a little thinner. The arch. It's okay if that's a little messy, because that's not the focal point in your painting. But if you want it to look cleaner than mine, well, that's fine too. I am just, again, trying to set a mood here. And we got ours to put in there. I don't know why that one went so high. That's okay, it'll blend into our other. There. What's the word I'm looking for? Blend into that other piece of bridge work. Okay. And again, arch, 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 arch. Mm-hmm. Neighbors upstairs are having their little move-in party, which is fine. It's only about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I don't mind the noise. I'm hoping that this new mic on here with the noise cancellation means I don't have to try to edit out. They're talking now. All right, I'm gonna call that good on that bridge. We are gonna add a little a few little areas where I want a little touch of gray. Top there. Side over here. Maybe just little glints here on there. Top. There's just a little light hitting it. And we need a little bit of that. Right here. Right. I can get my fan brush, take some green and some yellow. Grabbing that yellow, or am I just making the yellow kind of green? I need a little white in there too. There we go. I just wanna push the grass over here a little higher into that path. Okay. We'll get a little more green, more yellow in there. Down here. Coming out a little further. A little more grass right there. Just put a little reflection of that color. And again, a soft, clean brush to just kind of gently pull apart, pull over there. Let's get a little more yellow in there. Brighten that up a little more and just add our highlight and the grass over here. And on the other side, the bridge. Same with a little bit of that highlight color. And that path up just, not a lot, just a little bit. Get a little highlight in there. And let's get some black mixed in with that dark green. And on the bottom here. Punch in some shadow. Don't need a whole lot. Do need to pull down on it a little bit. Into the water though. And then clean that brush. Get that green off. Go into that sienna. Thin it. A little sand brown. So need a little reflection of the bridge work. Soft and clean filler. Get a little bit of green here. That reflection as well. And just get a little bit of yellow on the brush. Damp some of it out. Just work it in a little bit to brighten that. Not too bright, so we'll just go into some green. There. We can just, again, just do it right on the canvas. Heck, now we can get Some orange into that dark. A little bit of shadow of those trees. Okay, and again with that dry brush or clean, just pull across for the shape of the water. Get you there. And I want to brush a little more control for the bridge shadow. That black. For that, we're just gonna blend in that way. Don't need a whole lot of detail in the reflection of that handrail. Just enough to kind of tell the people what it is. Now I'm going to actually need to touch up some of this shadow work back here. So let's get a lot of white in that back corner there with just that little bit of, just a tiny little bit of brown. Mainly white though. Now I want to put a little green in there to dull it just a touch. That's a little too bright, so we'll get a little touch of brown. Also kind of work that in with the finger. Let's get a little more brown in there. That's too much, but we can get some white in there again to really mute those tones. You'll lower that in there to make them match a little better. There's some back in there as well. Why not? Why not? Heck, I think we should actually. Let's see. Yeah, I want to work a little more muted orange. Kind of back in here just to let's actually put a little tiny touch of green in there. There we go. Just little splashes of color back behind those trees. This almost adds another layer of depth. We have our darn near gray, and then our very slightly orange. Just touch that up there, tiny little bit. All right. Now we can add our big old tree right here. Go ahead and go with about a 3/4 inch brush. Black again. I'll add a touch brown to that black. This one runs almost all the way up. It starts just right here. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of center in that black and brown. call it thinner, like it's a paint thinner. It's not. It's an acrylic flow medium, but it kind of works the same way for me as a paint thinner would with oil paints. Of course, I'm not using oil. I'm using acrylic. All right. This one goes up dang near to the very top. Actually, it does go all the way up to the top. It runs off the top of the canvas, in fact. Big old tree. Don't be afraid of it, though. You don't have to put it in if you don't want. I'm just doing it because in the reference photo, I'm using. It's all the way to the top. And we got branches come off. That one also runs all the way up off the top. Breaks in the trunk there. I don't like. Paint over them a little bit. All right, we got a big branch here. This one goes dang near all the way to the opposite side of the canvas. And stop it about right there. I'll put some little fellers on there as well. Got another one that comes off right here. Doesn't go quite as far across, but goes quite a ways. All right. Let's then a brush here. And we can a few more of the branches on here. Let's pull that out even a little further. I want to branch down, but also branch out a little bit. And I'm twisting a little bit to get a little bit of shape in the branches, if that makes sense. All right. Now this one, that branch almost overlaps that. In fact, it might a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how it looks when we put the leaves on. Touch that up a little bit there and there. Okay. Oh, yeah, a little branch down here. Not as powerful as those older big ones up towards the top, but maybe it's an old one that broke back in the day, but it's still here. Still growing leaves. Maybe it knows it's not getting as much sunlight as the ones on the top. Can't quite provide as much for our leaves, so it doesn't grow out as much, doesn't shoot out as many. Really coming along. Alrighty. Okay, now we can go ahead and let's get some leaves on here. I'm going to mix for our base color sienna and some orange. Let's actually just mix it right on the brush here. Sienna and orange, a little more sienna. Let's put a touch of that brown in there, not a whole lot. And we'll start. I want that a little brighter. Put a little more orange in there. And we'll get a few leaves there. Let's get a little more orange. And a few coming over here. We got a whole bunch around this branch. There might even be a branch in here we just don't see. It still has thick leaf on it. These ones haven't all fallen yet. These go all the way to the top of the canvas.
Gonna put a few more
branches here and there as we want or need. Thin it just a little bit, but not a whole lot, just to keep it from drying out. Yeah, I like that strong orange contrasted against that gray sky. All right, we go. More little leaves here and there, punch in there. We have some clusters on the bottom here. Some of these clusters might even be from a tree. Let's just off. Well, I was going to say off screen, but I meant to say off canvas. Who knows? Who knows what we got hiding over here? You can decide if you're doing your own painting. I'm just thinking, I don't need to know. Be with another tree there if it wants, little bushes. Doesn't matter. All right, now in a few areas where I just want just a little. Let's actually add a little brown. I want some shadow color at the bottom of some of these. There we go, that's better. A little more brown because it's picking up that orange, which is fine. Let them blend a little right on the canvas. Well, that's work for you to worry about. These are really want a lot of shade on, just the way they're sitting. All right. Up here, I had a little too much sienna. I need that darker brown if it's going to be blending itself in. There we go. You know, a few darker ones right at the edge. All right. Now let's go ahead. Let's get another small brush and go back into our black. A few more little twigs and the like in there. So I'm gonna put some highlight on here as well. So this will add a little bit of dimension to the painting. Definitely picking up that orange paint. Go back over some of your branches here too if you feel like you got a little too much of the leaves over them. That's fine. Okay. Let's add a little dead leaf. Not dead, little dead branch coming through here without any leaves on it. That's coming off from that tree next door. I don't know, it said didn't have any leaves, but maybe it's got just a few little leaves. All right. Get the yellow that's opened. That was probably way more than I needed, but that's all right. Mix some of that yellow into some orange. Let's get a lot more yellow in there. Way too much paint in that brush. I don't want to use this brush, I don't think. Let's try a different one. Let's try this little fan brush. Oh, that should work a little better. Just trying to put a few little highlights here and there now. Actually, this fan brush isn't working too well either. Shaping quite right, just gotta move it around a little bit. Okay. That's looking better now, just using the corner of it. I don't get the full fan effect, which looks better, a little closer to what I envisioned. You can have some of that overlap, some of that shadow if you want, that's fine. And just get some up in here. All right. Now we got to increase our leaf litter. Bottom of this one. I'll need a little bit of that grass there. On the trail again. There we go. That looks better. Let's put a little bit in here as well. Actually, we're going to start bring out with some sienna at the bottom of the tree. You know what else we need? You know, a little bit of highlight on this tree trunk. I should have gone with, let's go with the brown instead of sienna. blend it out a little bit. I'm just catching a little light here and there. Let's get a lot more brown on there, though. Heck, we can even, let's get a little black. That's better. There we go. You don't want it too bright. Clean that. All right. Now we can go back into our sienna here. We're gonna put some leaf litter here. Pretty much runs all the way down. Little pile in the corner, little corner there too. All right. Now we can go and some orange on it. And again, we use the corner for that, so it's not getting those uniform shapes. Bit here and there. And we can mix a little yellow into that orange. Let's have some brighter colors here and there. In fact, I think we need some yellow green. This grass get a little, just get a little more fall looking in there. There's a few spots here and there. Don't gotta get the whole thing. Or it's just drying out a little bit because it's not getting quite as much moisture. All right, and you know what? I think, let's see here. How's that color? Yeah, let's actually, I'm just gonna punch a little bit of that. Greenish yellow, just here or there, into these leaves. Just a few of these leaves that have a little more life on them. If you get too much like I did there, we'll just go right back in the orange and go over it. Just want a little more variation in a few of these spots here and there. All right. And I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. So I just need a little liner, a little flowing gel, a little bit of red here. Not that liner. There we go. I'm just gonna go ahead and put our signature. Oh, you know what? Are we quite done, or do we want to do? Let's do a little more work in the water here. At least I caught it before getting all the way to shutting my cameras down, thinking I'm done, and having to reload everything. So I got that going for me, which is nice. More of that yellow grass in there. And let's see here. Let's bring the land out a little further on the other side of this bridge too. Get that reflection in there. Then take palette knife, A little bit of white. And there's a little bit of a water line here and there. We can also paint a little bit of a water line. Yeah, if we want a little bit of ripples down here by the bridge, we can just paint those in. Pulled mostly straight, but a little bit of wave. And it is good. It's just motion of the water. Oh yeah, over here. Need a reflection. I'm going to brighten that up. It's not standing out from the water very much, so just brighten it up some and then put a little bit of reflection of that. Oh, let's clean that. Let's go in a little black again. We can a few more little areas here to touch up. Forget that brush, I guess. Reflection. These trunks in where the water is. Pull across. All right, now I think we're done. So back to that liner. Get that in the water quick. Back to that liner and that red. And we'll go ahead. Nope, not quite yet. Now see, just down in here, there's light playing in the water. Might as well get that in, right? When I do a landscape, I'm never really going for a fully accurate look. I'm more going to set a mood. I just really like the colors and the mood and the photograph I based this on. All right, now that I have those little lines, let's get into that red. And we'll go ahead, about right here. Pull it, just point. And then, alrighty. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, and then probably come back to that signature and sharpen it up. But you know, the base of what it looks like there. And with that, I'm gonna call it done. I don't know the title yet, but it'll be in the video title and description, as well as the time-lapse title and description. All right, you guys know me. You know me. That's... Now that I have these in, I feel like these trees over here are looking a little dark, so... I'll brighten them up some. Just that one, at least. I'll separate it from this one in front of it with the darker leaves. All right, now Now I'm going to call it done. We'll have the title of the piece and the title of the tutorial painting. I hope you folks have a great day today and an even better one tomorrow. And we'll be back soon with another painting. Good night.